What a season it is to have one of our all-time favourite Roosters. Certainly a favourite on Roosters Radio, Silky. He's a great man that spent so much time on the field, kicking goals, scoring tries, but most of all, remember him for making those great tackles. Clive Churchill medalist, Australian kangaroo, State of Origin legend. Started out with a full head of hair, just a young kid from Dapto and a student in hand. And look at him. Ended up captaining the Roosters. And now we have him on Roosters Radio. Would you please all rise for the great Craig Fitzgibbon, life member number?
30.
30, there you go. 30 life members. Pretty exciting, Silky and Bells.
Yeah, Fitzy, welcome to Roosters Radio. Our first guest for season 2021.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to talk to you guys as usual.
Now, Fitzy, as mentioned in the big intro, mate, you're not a man that worries about airs and graces and accolades. You're probably one of the most humble people that I've ever met on the football field. And I told you before, this is a little bit about you. I think the fans love the fact that you are the way you are. You've always got time to stop in the streets for the people. Getting a life membership, though, is something for you. The fans love you. You've given us so many great memories. You've been amazing as a coach and, you know, coached in 3 grand finals here, 4 grand finals, in fact. Three.
As a coach.
Coached in 3 grand finals here. And, you know, from the fans' perspective, you've done everything. From your perspective, how proud were you when you were bestowed a life membership?
Yeah, it was really squirmish, to be honest. So you don't, it's really easy to be part of successful eras, and you're watching some wonderful stories along the way, and you see a lot of great people and great men get accolades in and around that time. But when it happens to you, it's quite uncomfortable, but nonetheless humbling, and it was a huge honour. So wasn't taken lightly. I've been here 10 years as a player and now 10 years as a coach. So I'm 43. 20 years of my life as a Rooster is it's a fair chunk, and so it was a huge honour. There's no doubt.
Fitzy, when you get an honour like that, I mean, you've won so many awards over the years. You know, the grand final, the Churchill medalist. You've been the a player that's received awards every year when you played. As a coach, you've won premierships. When you think about the award, does it make your mind roll back to the career you have had? And does it roll back to specific moments? Do you pick a moment as a player, as a coach, you can really stand out and think about?
Yeah, I'm not very nostalgic, Bush. I just I'm very forward thinking, constantly. It's probably a poor trait of mine is just to skip on to the next thing and keep driving forward to whatever I feel like I need to move towards. So to actually stop, pause, and reflect was quite nice, and it was a really special night. It was just the annual general meeting, of course, and I had Rico get up and talk, and Freddie was there. That was a huge honour for me. And then the staff and players also come to watch, which was really nice. And then my family were there, more importantly than all of them. So it was a really nice night, actually. And to have just acknowledgement of time served was it's a real honour.
What did the family say when you're driving home in the car, and they must be so proud of what Dad's achieved, and your lovely wife, stood by you, for so many ups and downs as a player and as a coach? I mean, it must be important for them to realise the significance, I guess.
Yeah, I think the eldest two were, were at the back end of my career while they were only young, of course. So they've never seen me play, the two little ones. So they're a little bit unawares as to what's going on. But no, it was, like I said, it was a really nice night. And to have those accolades in front of your family makes it a little bit more special, a bit more emotional. As tried to give thanks to them and what they've what they've done for me to allow me to keep travelling up here and coaching is the support that I get from them is important. So, but no, they just enjoyed the night. They're pretty matter of fact. It was just another night out, I think, for the kids.
I often think about that, Fitzy, when the kids didn't see you play in your career. Do they watch clips? Do they go on YouTube? Do they check you out? And
my daughter pulled out one of me getting dish the other day, and she brought it in and said, "Dad, look, this is you getting rinsed when you were playing over in England." So it was pretty funny. But they pull out some stuff there, but not too much. And like I said, I'm not for whatever reason. I don't know why that the case is. I'm not very nostalgic. I just don't seem to stop and reflect enough. And like I said, when something like that happens to you, it forces you to do that, and to share it with the kids was really nice. Thanks.
Fitzy, you just said you've spent nearly half your life here at the club. What does this club mean to you?
Oh, look, it's a big call when I first joined. I think being a local junior and at Illawarra, it was I didn't know anything other than just down home and surfing and playing footy down there, and all of a sudden I'm I moved to Cronulla and lived there for the 10 years that I played at the Roosters, just to try and have a buffer between there and home. And it was a big change, huge shock. But for whatever reason, it just felt right the whole time. And I think I'd made such a big call to leave and join here that I wasn't going to make another big call. And along the way, that probably worked against me a little bit towards the back end. And but I just felt, I don't know where the sense of loyalty come from. I think it's more the people and the organisation. Like, it's such a great club. You become so close with everyone that I just felt like it was just right that I saw it here as long as I could stay. And I think it was the right time when I did leave to go to Hull FC. I think they needed to get rid of me as much as I needed to get out and refresh before working. So I didn't know what would happen as an employee after that. I didn't know how long I'd be here. And I'm a footy coach. It's a transient position, so you've got to be ready for anything as a coach. But for 10 years here as an assistant's it's just been really easy.
You touch on a word there we discussed in preparing for this interview, Fitzy. The word that comes to mind with you is honourable, loyal and humble. And the word loyalty sticks out. Loyalty is so rare these days in the game, it's become more of a business. Have you seen that players now, it's harder to be as loyal as someone like you have been? And what does the word loyalty mean in the modern day game?
Oh, it's very hard. There's unique circumstances for everyone, I think. Just because you change clubs, it doesn't mean you're not a loyal person, I don't think. First of all, I think it is business-like, and there's going to come a time for everyone where you've got to move on, and there's only a rare few that stay their entire life in one position or one club. So you have to be armed for that. I never thought that I'd go to England and play for Hull FC, but I never thought that I wasn't loyal by doing that. So it is, you just got to be ready for it. But when you're in an organisation like this, it is, it's been, like I said, quite easy to want to stay for so long.
Fitzy, talk us through a day in the life of a coach. Let's just talk, focusing on the coach's box. What do you actually do? In
the coach's box, per se?
Yeah, sit next to Robbo.
So just live analysis. So we're messaging, we have a plan before we go to the game that we've trained for in an attacking and defensive sense. And we've set up a style of defence and a style of play that we always attack like the Roosters style of play with some subtle variations there, but we set up a defensive system that we think is going to break down or stop the opposition. So we're basically just live analysing what are they running, the shapes that we showed the guys, are they running the system that they had in the previous weeks, have they changed things on the run, and sending messages through Kingy to get to our key members to say they are doing that, just stick at it, or we might need to make some subtle adjustments there on the fly. But there's a lot of hot air as well, Silk, going on in there. You get, yeah, we swear sometimes for sure. No, but the hardest thing is what you do realise is you invest so much of your time, effort, and energy during the week that it's on show then, but you're helpless. So there's a sense of that, but it's just about trying to calmly and Robbo's really good at seeing and analysing on the spot feedback. So we're just trying to do that to the best of our ability, and it's very hard to control what's happening on the field from there. But the guys, thankfully, they tend to execute how we've set up during the week. It's more about your preparation during the week. I think the 80 minutes in the box is she can get a bit wild and emotional, but the preparation's already set, and we trust the guys that they'll execute what we ask for.
Fitzy, as a coach, it happens in players. Players mature, and sometimes they mature into greater players, and sometimes they do some great things and they look back and learn on where they were when they were younger. Do you look back as a coach and think, wow, I've come so far, and you're constantly learning? Is it, how much does experience play a part in your growth?
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, I think experience is the best teacher for sure. And my first year was under Brian Smith, and I got to say, well, I might be a coach. I wasn't really doing that much, but it was a great experience just to watch an experienced veteran like that work, and I learned so much in that year. And then Trent came in the year after, and basically I'd been talking to Jason Taylor a lot throughout the year before Trent come, and got along well with him. And then Trent came in 13 and offered JT the attack, and JT suggested to Trent he should look at me for the defensive role. And I was all guns blazing. I just didn't want to admit that I wanted to coach, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I better coach and I better do it well, otherwise I'm looking for something else. So he took a huge risk on me, Trent, like huge. So I'm forever grateful for that. But when I started, I was just swimming with information, and not much was sticking, and had a reasonable bank of knowledge through experience, but I was miles off to start with. So where I started to now, yeah, you just see things clearer. Your experiences pop up, and obviously I've been lucky enough to work in the rep arena as well to gather some more experience there. So it's been a good teacher.
In your experience of the coaching, Fitzy, you would have seen a lot of the rule changes, and obviously we've got some more this year. What are your thoughts on the new ones this year? The speed of the game is like outstanding. What are your thoughts on the new rules?
I think it was a little bit of a risk, to be honest, the way it just got implemented without anyone knowing. But then off the back of the first weekend, I thought the games were really well refereed. I think if the new rules are, if everything's to the letter and it's just a 6-again-a-thon, I think it's fearful of what the game might look like. But I thought they had a really good handle on not too many, penalising the obvious ones and the 6-again rule. I thought it, obviously a pretty free-flowing weekend of footy, as I understand it, the highest number of points in an opening round for some time. So it's hard to know, because do they want points on the board for fans, or do they want ball in play? Because I thought ball in play was the parameter they're after. So it's hard to really know, but I thought the footy was pretty good on the weekend. I think the fans should be pretty happy with it. And the new rules were at this stage a bonus, but they were well refereed. I didn't think they were over refereed at all.
Talking of the footy, we had a pretty impressive performance there on Saturday afternoon at SCG. Your thoughts?
Good start, Silky. Good start. We thought when you start, there's only so many things you can get right, to start a year. You're not gonna look your best straight off the bat. So, what you want to set up for and what we sent them out to do, we thought we achieved that. So that was a good start in that regard. But we need to definitely improve on a number of areas. But it's you just want to see a representation of what your pre-season's been, and we've had a good one, we've had a hard one, and we've worked on a lot of things that are, they're maybe not huge differences to the eye, but they're big to the guys, and thankfully for us, we saw a really good representation of what our pre-season's done, and so we're happy with the start, but we're definitely not we're not naive enough to think we need to improve, that's for sure.
So Fitzy, just to I suppose put a lighter spin on this chat, you and I have perfected the reverse man bun. Some interesting looks every year. You've got you've seen down in Melbourne the Pappenhausen sort of hair, so the super mullet. Yeah. But we've got our own in Angus Crichton bringing out the the Last Emperor or that man bun. What do you make of some of the great hairstyles that are out there amongst the playing group, and some of the great beards and looks and goatees and everything else?
Well, I think you underestimate us, Bush. We can still do ponytails and sideburns if we have to. But look, I'd take a handful of it home if I played against them, I guess. But you can't say that nowadays with the new rules. I think Jake had a contrary conduct charge there for a little tug on Marty's plats. But look, it's just an expression of the guys. Times have changed. Like, everyone's different. We're in a different era, and guys want to express themselves like that, then they're more than welcome to, provided they front up. I think Gussie, as you saw on the weekend, he fronted up, that's for sure.
Amazing. Fitzy, that segues into another question. I think it's a great one for our fans. The modern day player, how much has he changed, the modern day player, when you played, to the current player? The skill, the athleticism was obviously there. There's some equality there. But just, I suppose, the player himself, times have changed. Are they different human beings to, the ones you played with? Is it a different culture? I mean, is it just time has changed so much?
Oh, I think there's been a generational swing there for sure. It used to be a little bit, you would say, a one-size-fits-all style of person playing rugby league. There's a lot more variety and personality, I think, nowadays, and that's for the better. But I also think they're just good young men. They just come in, they're just willing to learn, and they're downright frightening in an athletic sense, though. The speed, the power, the skill is frightening. So
we saw it on the weekend. It was amazing, wasn't it?
It is. And I watch them train and marvel at them sometimes. You're running a session yourself, and even I have to flinch thinking, I'm so glad I'm retired.
Is there a player that you go when they run the ball or tackle at training, you
mate,
say, oh, mate,
I don't get in front of any of them, mate. I'm out of the road, that's for sure. Yeah.
Back to when you were playing, Fitzy, who is the biggest character that you played with?
Oh gosh, we had plenty of characters come through the Roosters there. We had as teammates, obviously Rico, Minnie, and Finchy, great characters. Fletch was in the early days. Fletch was my roomie for a couple of years there, so we had fun there. But I mentioned him at the start. Obviously those guys remain great friends because we had such a great era together, and I just thank them for making me a man more than anything. When I came, I was a boy, and Rico spoke kindly of me the other night at the GM. But again, I only rocked up with wide eyes, thinking I didn't know what it took to be an NRL player, a long-term NRL player, until I saw what those guys were doing and how they were preparing, and they forced me to become a man. And then I've got to say Freddie, for whether Freddie's a character, as we all know, but that guy, the intensity of his, the separation in his preparation on intensity, like he's a lovable larrikin, but don't get it twisted, when it come to footy and preparation, he was a Nazi and great. So he's the greatest player I got to play with, where we were soldier-like, I think, as a team. We knew, we had Minnie and Wingy, those guys could bust games open, no doubt, but we knew if we all did our jobs like soldiers, that Freddie would get us home, and more often than not, that's what he did.
There's been some very kind words said to you by some of your former players, and one that I noticed was recently retired Orbo, who called you, he's my mentor. To hear words like that from people you played with must be, pretty special. You played with some of the greats. You mentioned Rico and Freddie and the like, but Orbo's in the room next door here, and for someone to say some words like that must make you feel quite nice.
Yeah, that's the buzz. Like people say to you as a footy coach, who'd be a coach? And we're like, what are you talking about? It's a great job. Like we love what we do. We turn up every day smiling, and if we can make a difference to a young man's life and for the better, then that's a huge reward. There's obviously some parts of stress that you got to learn to deal with, but you got to love blood if you want to coach and sign up for the chaos. So look, it's a great job, but to hear like someone like Orbo, who I admire him too, for a man like, a great club man, but just he's a man of honour, and he's a man in every sense of the word. So if I've helped him in any small way, that's humbling, and that's why you do the job, if you can make a difference to people like that. And Jake's still here too. I actually played alongside Jake and Orbo, so I often say to them, don't tell them what I was really like, boys, please.
Pretty special, isn't it? It's a nice little group.
No, it is.
Fitzy, moving forward to this week at the Tigers, we've certainly had a beautiful interview with you, but the footy's back. The fans are excited. What can we expect, and what can we expect, and what should we be looking for?
Oh, we just want to grow on last week's performance. We just, like I said, we've made a good start. We feel like we've got a number of areas to improve on, and we would just want to grow on that. We want to make sure there's, like I said, the representation of our preseason, and asking plenty of questions. They'll be smarting after the defeat there at Canberra, so we'll have to be good.
Well, thank you, Fitzy, for your time. It's been an amazing honour to be able to speak to you today, and just congratulations on your life membership, and well done. We honour you and congratulate you. So
thanks very much.
Thanks for your time on Roosters Radio.
Thanks, boys. Good on you.